How's it, everybody? Hope you're all doing super duper cool today. So I've been on a search for a video on YouTube explaining metronomes for the sake of the volunteers at our church. And I realized in my search that everybody thinks that if I want to know a little bit about metronomes, I suddenly want to be the next Ludwig von Beethoven or Jacob Collier or Adam Neely or somebody like that. And the truth is that volunteers at church don't necessarily want to be that at all. They just want to serve their local congregation. And so what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be making a video about metronomes targeted at people who just want to pretend like they know how to get by. And I'm really good at pretending like I know how to get by, if you know me very well. The first thing I want to do is I just want to bring up an image of this. This is sheet music. We don't need that. Okay, but wait a minute. Let's bring that back quickly. You see this little sign over here? Most of us have seen this sign before, 4/4. Now, this little time signature is teaching us how the notes that follow are going to fit into the timing of the song so that we know how the song's rhythm is going to sound and how the song is going to sound. The reason why we don't need that is because you already know how the song's going to sound. In modern contemporary church music, we've played the songs maybe 10,000 or 100 billion times. Am I right? So we all know how the songs go. We know how they sound. We know everything about them, left, right, and center. We can play them with our eyes closed. But the problem here is that we need to play them in time with one another, or else they sound terrible. I've heard that a couple of times. I'm sure you have too. You are mine. In this video, I'm going to be using the term pulse. Now, some of you might prefer the term groove or timing or all sorts of different abstract terms. The reason why I've settled on pulse is because it's not quite theoretically set in stone as timing is, and it's not quite as abstract as groove is because everybody knows what a pulse is. Simple. Everybody knows what a pulse is, so I'm going to be using the word pulse simply for ease of use. If we look at these numbers, we see a 4 and a 4. We actually only need to really be focused on the top number. We need to know, is it a 4 or a 3? So at the top, is it a number that is divisible by 4, or is it a number that is divisible by 3? Because those are really the only two kinds of songs we get in church music, or should I say the only two kinds of pulses we get in contemporary church music. So the 4 is going to sound something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 6 or the 3 is going to sound something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I say that there's only two kinds of contemporary church songs when I do that. So that's the only thing we really need to focus on in contemporary church music, is that little number at the top over there, which you're probably never going to actually see anyways. You're going to hear though. One of the ways we can determine the pulse of a click track, or one of the most important things to pay attention to, is that there is going to be an accent click 90% of the time. So that's one click that's going to be a little bit higher or a little bit louder or something, depending on the click that you're using. And that's going to set count number 1. Your downbeat is always going to be on an accent click unless something wacky is happening in the song. But that accent click is helping you determine the rhythm of that pulse. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. That's what's going to help you determine the pulse. If you've got a 6/8 kind of pulse, it's going to go da 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 nothing like that. But you get what I'm saying. And so let's demonstrate an example quickly of why I think it is not important for you to know all the theory and all the crazy stuff about metronomes and subdivisions and things like that. I'm going to play a little piece of it for you, and you'll recognize it. Most of you have probably played this and heard it 100 times, and it goes something like this. And we still sometimes play it wrong. Okay, you all know that one. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. We know how it sounds, and most of you out there could probably play it at more or less the right tempo without anybody giving you the tempo for that song, because you just know it so well because you've played it 10,000 times. So I want to demonstrate to you quickly what you're going to hear when you use a click track and how you should approach this click track. I've got a click track set at 90 beats per minute, which is approximately more or less somewhere around where we would play the song, but I've chosen specifically 90 because it's easy to shift around from 90. Okay, that's 90 beats per minute, and I'm just getting the pulse from it. I'm just putting my finger to its throat and feeling its pulse. And then I'm just going to play exactly what I know how to play, and at more or less the tempo I know how to play it within that pulse. What we can do though, and what might happen in your case, is you might stumble upon a click track that has more subdivisions in it. And that's going to sound something like this. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's where the biggest problem comes in sometimes. Some people, when they hear that, they want to do. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. You know more or less the tempo of the song. And so you're just going to play to that. Now, some of you who have dug into a little bit of theory are going to be saying, no, but that wasn't just more subdivisions in the metronome. You sped the metronome up to 180 beats per minute instead of 90 beats per minute. And you would be completely right. And I don't care. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. I know that the song isn't at 180 beats per minute. I know This Is Amazing Grace. I know more or less how it sounds. If I'm going to be hearing, I'm not going to try and play This Is Amazing Grace at 180 beats per minute. I don't know about you. You're welcome to give it a bash, but I'm not going to do it. Let me know how it goes. Maybe send me a video, tag me, something like that. That's going to be pretty cool. So beyond that, it's pretty straightforward. It's really just, there might be less subdivisions, there might be more subdivisions, but at the end of the day, I know more or less the pulse of the song. And so all I need to do is I need to get the pulse of the song I'm singing in line with the pulse of the metronome. And that's how I'm going to find the timing that I want to play the song in. But the fact is, you don't need to know all the fancy jargon of subdivisions and 6/8 and 4/4 and all of that stuff to play to that click. You absolutely do not need any of that knowledge. All you need is you need a thing clicking away in your ears, and as it clicks, you're going to find the pulse that is clicking at. It's like finding a pulse. Just listen for the pulse, get into the same rhythm as that pulse, and just jam the song that you already know how to play. And that is the best way to go about approaching a metronome if you're walking into a church band for the first time, or if your church band suddenly decides to implement a click track and you've never used one before, which is the case in my church, which is why I'm making this video. This is the best way to pretend like you know what you're doing when you actually have no idea. Your churches thank you for everything that you do. You are awesome don't stop doing it.